Hi guys, it's Pedro. And in today's video, I would like to talk about the number one difficulty that supervisors have to endure when they are performing at their jobs, and perhaps the main reason, directly and indirectly, of why we have the problems that we have in visual effects. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Pedro, and I'm the founder of Lair, and we help very experienced professionals attain and sustain leadership roles within a compositing background. We've been helping hundreds of people over the years with that very effectively. You don't need to take my word for it. Once again, just go and click on the link in the description and you'll see yourself exactly the results that we've been able to produce and what people say about the method that they went through and the results that they also got from our help. If you think you need help with this yourself, no problem at all. There's a link in the description, actually the first link that you should follow, and that link will contain a video of me explaining you the roadmap to get there, okay? And at the end of it, you are able to apply for a strategy call with my team, and then we'll go on the conversation and see if we are the right fit for each other to work with each other, so you can basically get the same results that so many others have been having over the years. But going back to what we were saying, I think we can all come to the agreement that the main problem that we have within VFX is the development of every project, because that's where things fall apart every time, and it seems like we don't improve from project to project. I don't want to delve too much into this. I want to attach that with what I just said about like number one difficulty that supervisors have to endure, and you'll see why this is attached, because the number one difficulty from a lot of experience and from hiring and dealing and managing with a lot of people, especially supervisors, the number one difficulty that they have is delegation. And I would like to talk a little bit more about why that is, and then the results that people get because of that fact, and what is the solution to overcome this problem, right? So the reason why most supervisors, especially the younger supervisors, have regarding delegation, it's because they're still attached with the mindset of an artist. What does that mean? Well, it means they are basically very oriented by task-based. It's a bigger task, it's a bigger scope, but it's task-based, which means that they are following orders in terms of like what other people above them or from a different department, for example, production, tells them of what their job is, okay? So they don't really question, and they don't do what we're gonna talk about that will put them more on the driving seat of what their role is, right? As opposed to just following orders. Nothing wrong with following orders, by the way, but you'll see exactly what I'm about to say. And I'll explain and give you some examples. But going back to the why, it all starts with the mindset of how supervisors should perform and why they don't perform with that mindset. So basically, as I said before, they are still attached with the mindset of an artist. And you would think, oh, okay, maybe that's just the first time or the second time that they are performing as supervisors, so the third time comes and they don't have that mentality anymore. Not necessarily speaking the case, okay? Because if they don't make change, this will still be with them, because that's the way that they are performing, and they might think that's the way that they should perform, all right, independently of the results that they get, which takes me to what I just mentioned in the beginning, which is the problems that we have in visual effects, which is a little bit attached to filmmaking in general, but it's always like the messiness of production, and the problem, it's always the same problems really, over and over and over and over again, and it all starts with the numbers, right? The fact that people don't know the numbers, especially people in managerial roles, which is the role of a supervisor, right? So right there's a big difference between being an artist or being a supervisor. Supervisor is in like the one that is in charge of a team, but the task is inherently different as well. So it implies different things, different ways of perceiving your job, right? So as I said, it all starts with the numbers, and if you don't have the numbers on your side, you don't know whether you are ahead, behind, just fine, in the road that you should be in, or outside the road, or whatever. You're just basically relying on others to tell you. And of course, you have also, your sense of, if you have like a number of shots to deliver, of course, that's like a metric, but that's just not enough because anybody can do that, right? So any artist can do that as well. So that takes me back to what I just said, which is like the mindset of an artist that is still prevalent when a lot of people that perform at a supervisor role still have, right? And the reason why they don't know the numbers is most likely because they don't know how to calculate the numbers. They don't know the metrics that they should have on their side, and this means that they don't have a system in place for that reason, right? How can you have a system if you don't know, what you're after, basically, right? So again, this results in just following orders, right, over and over and over again. And because the results don't come, and then they don't come frequently, as I said before in the beginning of this conversation, this implies almost every time a sense of micromanagement, okay? Because they lack the confidence, all right, most of the times, because the results are always the same. They're always bad. People are always complaining. There is always like loss of OT and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that this will never happen if you don't want to. It's part of the process, I get, but it shouldn't be as hard as it is, all right? So this implies, as I said, like a sense of micromanagement, which is one of the worst possible things that you can ever have as a supervisor, because I'm pretty sure that every supervisor was or is on the receiving end of micromanagement, and I'm pretty sure that it doesn't feel good, right? So when you apply the same thing, of course, it's not going to be good for others either, right? And it's going to be good for you as well, because there's only much that you can do, you know what I mean? And if you think that you need to control everything, that implies right there a lack of control. And that's exactly the problem. When you don't have the numbers on your side, when you still have this mentality of an artist still, although you're performing with a completely different role, then, you don't trust anyone, basically, right? Because you want to control everything. The results don't come. You want to create like a good impression on your superiors and stuff like that, VFX supervisor, if that's the case. So you basically lack confidence in yourself, and because of the micromanagement part, you basically are giving the impression that you don't trust anybody else. So you need to basically compensate for the work that this person did or that person did or whatever it may be, or you're constantly checking things from different people, and that's like it's awful, like when that happens, right? So this all starts with systems. If you don't have a system in place, how can you do your job, which should be always about the big picture and never about like the small tasks, because that's why you have a team, right? So to change this mindset, you need to face yourself. If you're in this position, you need to face yourself as sort of like the CEO of a company, okay? And the CEOs of companies in general, they're not the ones performing at like the little tasks. They're about the vision. They're about like creating teams. They're about like assigning the right people to the right tasks, and to create systems that puts you in control and not in need of reinventing the wheel all the time, or to control everybody's jobs because you don't trust them, and not going on a micromanagement kind of situation, because that's awful and you don't get anything done, basically. So creating systems is like, I would say, the number one. But in order for you to do that, you need to know what are the numbers that you need, how to calculate them, etc., etc., right? So otherwise you don't know what the system you need to create. You have no vision about like the system itself, right? So your job is this. It's also, as a supervisor, hire or assign the right people to the right tasks and hold them accountable. Not micromanage them, but hold them accountable. And again, this is where systems come. How do you hold them accountable? How, what are the systems that you have in place that allows you to do this kind of process very easily, right? And you need to let the team perform within the tasks that they've been assigned to. Otherwise, how can they be accountable? If you assign something to someone else as a supervisor, and then you're constantly checking their work, then might as well do that yourself, which is exactly what a lot of supervisors think. Oh, this is wrong. might as well do it myself. Okay, and then you do this once, you do this twice. Maybe there's a couple of people within the team, let's say 20 people that you trust. So maybe a couple of them you don't need to check, but all the others probably you need to check, right? And you know, you need to let them perform at within the task that they've been assigned to, you know, and it's your job to not do the tasks, but to control the tasks. How? With systems, as I said before, never losing track of the big picture. Let the tasks themselves be performed by the people that are part of your team. You are the CEO, okay? You need to have this business mentality when you are on a role like a supervision role, right? Otherwise, you know, it's an awful experience for everybody. And the worst thing is you will never get anything done because and that's the reason, by the way, that a lot of supervisors end up like working like a lot and staying like, you know, long hours all the time, most of them, not all of them, but most of them, because they lack the control, they lack the confidence in their skills. So they compensate by working long hours all the time. So it's not about like doing like a lot of hours. It's about doing the right tasks with the right systems. If you don't have the right systems, you don't know how, you know, how to do any of this, right? So again, going back to what I said in the beginning of this conversation today, it's all about the change in mindset. The number one difficulty, as I said before, is delegation, but it starts with the mindset. Most people that are in supervision roles or any managerial role within VFX or any other world, but let's skip this to VFX, their number one difficulty is delegation. And it's because of all these reasons that I just mentioned. So the mindset, it's the first thing that you need to change. And if you don't know how to do it, then you need to seek support. And that's exactly what we do. So we help people that are very experienced that either want to get into a supervision position or they are already there, but they know they've experienced everything that I just mentioned, and they know that, you know, this is basically not sustainable, because at the end of the day, that's what this means, right? If you keep performing like this as a supervisor, there will come a point in which this system is just not sustainable. All right, and it starts with you. It's not sustainable because of you. You can only do so much, and you can only, you know, endure micromanagement so much. If the team grows to 100 people, you just can't do it, right? And it's exactly when that happens that things start to break. You don't need to reach to 100 people as a team, okay? That's just an example. It can be 20, it can be 10. It all depends on what you're dealing with, right? But it all starts with the mindset. And as I was saying, that's exactly what we do. We help these people that are very experienced at what they do perceive and help create systems in many different ways, okay, so they can perform at the supervision role and job in the way that it should be performed as, not in the way that other people, you know, tell them to do, and they need to be in control of the situation at all times, as opposed to just follow orders, not knowing whether or not they are ahead or behind, and creating systems that tells them automatically how to avoid certain pitfalls that they will have the visibility of knowing that they will come 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, 2 weeks from now, whatever it may be, tomorrow. It doesn't matter, right? So it's like all about creating systems that allows you as a supervisor to be in control. And this is the number one difficulty that people have, and that's why micromanagement, most of the times, there might be other reasons, but most of the times, that's the number one reason of why we have the problems that we have. Because think about this, if this happens on this department, the same happens in every single department, including production, by the way. Okay? So it's not about being reliant always on things that people tell you, on what certain tool, management tool that perhaps tells you, is to question and create your own systems that allows you to be always with updated data and in control at all times, because it will give you the visibility of everything that will come down the line, and knowing the metrics that really matter to you, as opposed to following metrics that matter more to others. Okay, and that's exactly what we do. So I hope you found this useful. This is the value that I would like to give you today. And if you need help on how to do exactly what I just mentioned, and you want to join, you know, the group of people that we've been helping over the years, hundreds of people that we've been helping specifically around this topic, that has many different sub-branches, but all in all, this has to do with management roles. If you need help with this, no problem. There's a link in the description that you should follow. Click there. There's a video of me explaining you the roadmap to get to leadership roles using our system. And then by the end of it, you can apply for a strategy call with my team. And within that call, we're gonna analyze exactly the things that we talked about here and others that are directly related with your experience, your goals, where you want to go, and if we feel that we are the right partners for each other, so we can help you, we'll let you know and let you know how. And if not, that's totally fine, no problem at all, but at least you go on the coaching call with us. And if you are invited to the call, that means that you are always on the receiving end of value, okay? So I would book the call. That's basically what I'm saying. So I'll leave that up to you, of course, but in any case, I wanted to give you this value today so you can think about your role if you are a supervisor or if you are looking at achieving that kind of position, about like the number one, I would say the number one difficulty that supervisors normally face, which is delegation. And we talked about the reasons for it, the results that you'll get once you don't know how to delegate, and what you need to have in order for you to avoid the pitfalls that we just mentioned, okay, within this video. So I hope you find it useful and speak very soon. All right, bye-bye.